this month's talk story is about public charging. So, as you know, public charging infrastructure is critical to the adoption of electric vehicles. Many of us have the luxury of charging at home, but then we also have a lot of would-be EV owners or actual EV owners who live in apartments and condos, maybe visitors that are coming to would like to rent an EV. All these different use cases do demand adequate public charging. And I should also say, especially here on Big Island, there are folks who commute quite a long distances. They may be realtors; they need to go across the island. And even if you have charging at home, having adequate public charging is really critical for to be able to utilize electric vehicles effectively. So that's our topic. Before we jump into that, and that'll be the bulk of our conversation this evening, is a talk story with all of you. I'd like to give a description of Hawaii EV. We are a grassroots organization, been around for about 5 years. Some of our clubs have been around for over a decade. We have presence across the state, with Maui, Nui EV, Kauai EV, Big Island EV, Tesla Hawaii Club. We're essentially local EV owners and clean transportation supporters. We are working to increase EV adoption through education of buyers, helping or would-be buyers, helping dealers, address or be effective in terms of selling and servicing EVs, and then importantly, working to expand EV charging infrastructure. Clearly, our topic for this evening. Who we are, as you can see here, I wanted to just highlight the fact that we are across the state. We have leaders for the different clubs that exist across the islands, and this is our current team. Under each of these groups, there are other leaders that are providing, volunteer support at the county or the island level, and really appreciate their help in making this happen. Stats, just really quick, and then we'll jump into our talk story. So we've actually reached 30,000 EVs in February in the state. Year over year, it's been very constant, about 30% year over year growth in EVs, and that's pretty much across the different islands. There, we have also the stats for registered hybrids here. I just want to call out, though, that the 30,000 or so EVs, most of them obviously are on Oahu, but collectively, it's still about less than 3% of the over 1 million vehicles that we have, passenger vehicles that we have in the state. And importantly, we continue to burn over, between diesel and gasoline, over 40 million gallons of fossil fuel, liquid fossil fuel every month. And that obviously not only contributes to emissions, but because of the inefficiencies associated with the internal combustion engine, it's also representing lost opportunity, right? It's wasted money. Our residents are using or paying for fuel, and a lot of that fuel is actually wasted as heat. So there's a lot of work that we need to do, and our advocacy and our participation in telling the story, sharing our personal stories, help to invite more people to participate. So with that, we're going to talk about public charging.
Well, do we want to kind of talk about? There's been a lot of new chargers popping up, and maybe kind of touch on those, because I know Maui had the first NEVI one open. Curious if there's any Maui people on the call who've gone and charged at that. And then I know Oahu, there's a couple Electrify America chargers opening, and the supercharger at the Kahala Mall opened. So I don't know if anyone has any experiences with those as well.
Anyone? Feel free to jump in.
Hi guys, this is Peggy from Maui.
Hi.
And I have not been able to use the new NEVI station myself yet, but I drive by there pretty frequently, and it's always got at least 2 cars there. So it seems like it's appreciated and being used.
The canopies are going up for those, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Canopies are going up for those. By the way, that's a standard. So full disclosure, I'm an infrastructure partner with Sustainability Partners, and we're involved in the deployment of those NEVI charging station, NEVI hubs. And what you see happening on Maui at the Ride and Drive, or Park and Ride, is that what it is?
Yeah,
is going to be standard. Is standard. So you're going to have these tritium chargers, and there will be canopy protection and security lighting and the like. And because of the NEVI requirements, there's also security related requirements. So there will also be monitoring, video monitoring. So just what you see on Maui is representative of what will transpire across the state. One critical difference is the NACS or the J3400 standard, essentially the Tesla compatible plugs. Those are ultimately going to be incorporated into those. So Tesla owners and other owners that will have the new port will not have to require a charger adapter to be able to use those stations. Any other experience with Electrify America, the Tesla chargers over in Oahu, or?
I had a question. I'm Kai. I heard Lynette said earlier Kahala has a Tesla. Was it Kahala or the hotel?
Oh, sorry, Kahala Resort.
The hotel, right?
Hotel.
Okay. Yeah, I was just questioning. I mean, I only keep up based on that Tesla Hawaii Facebook group, so I'm not 100% sure where it was. Yeah. I'm like, if it was a Kahala Mall, then I'm like, now I'm gonna go there tomorrow.
Yeah. So there's 12 chargers. You do have. It's only available through valet, so you do have to. You can patronize the hotel. They said it's $50 validation, but I've heard a couple went and had lunch and spent $25 and they still got validation. So they were able to supercharge, and there's no idle fees. So if you go for dinner, you don't have to worry about, oh my God, I have to have them move my car because there's no idle fees there. So it's not ideal that it's behind kind of a paywall, but it's good that it's like something in town, and hopefully it's something that at least the tourists will hopefully use. So that'll kind of hopefully free up a little bit of the backlog at Pro Ridge until the other ones open up. Kaneohe is under construction right now. I think Steve's been by there. I think a few members have driven by there. So hopefully the Kaneohe superchargers at Bayview Golf Course will open this year. And I can't remember if it's 8 or 12. I think Tesla's trying to do 12 at a time at least, minimum for their superchargers.
We sure would love to see those superchargers on the other islands as well.
Yeah, sure. And they're looking. I mean, the charging team has been looking. I know on the Big Island, right? They've been looking there. Yeah. It's not easy to find these locations just because of the power that they draw. So some places like the Pro Ridge one, it's been in the works for like, I don't know, 3-4 years. That needs a new transformer for the permanent site. We're actually kind of lucky that we got that temporary site. I think it's partially because the Sears store closed, so it's pulling from that power source.
And that question, just quick question on the Kahala Resort experience. So when you plug in there and your car is done, like it's topped off, do you get notified? Is that through the app? Is it?
Yeah. Well, you can't. So you can't plug in the valet. You have to valet park, and the valets will bring the car and plug it in for you.
Okay, but are you able to you're still able to monitor though, right?
Yeah.
Via the app. Okay, and if you're a non-Tesla owner,
I don't know how it owns. I think you still have to have the app if you're a non-Tesla owner.
Okay.
I'm not sure how it works, but usually it gives you an alert that you're almost to 80% or whatever the max charge is, and it warns you because it's going to charge you idle fees. But for Kahala, they don't have idle fees.
Okay. Anybody else? Sonia, what's going on in Kauai? Are things improving out there?
We have not seen any improvement. The status about the supercharging keeps the same for years. Oh yeah, they're coming soon. The federal money is there, but it seems to be a problem with permitting or with the interface to the KUC software. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
And the level 2 charging situation is not very good either. We have probably more than a third of the public chargers are down. And no enforcement of, that there's no county legislation that there would be enforcement of either the charger requirement in a parking lot over 100 stalls or repair and maintenance requirements. So county did not pass that law or ordinance.
Just I mentioned Nevi earlier. So the plan for Kauai would be 2 of those hubs, right? So obviously that there's a challenge there given the demand charges and the infrastructure limitations. But the plan continues to be to deploy 2 of those hubs. So, and as a reminder, each hub is 150 kW times 4.
Yeah, I think Hawaiian Electric waives those demand charges for EV charging, and I was really hoping that KIUC would do something like that too. But
yeah, there are workarounds that are being evaluated to allow for the for the utilization of that energy without necessarily triggering the demand charges. So be on the lookout for an eventual solution for Kauai as well. And for the other islands, so Maui's going to get another hub. Oahu is supposed to get 2 of those hubs, and then Hawaii Island is expected to get 5 of those hubs. So things will improve. I predict, over the next couple of years, it'll improve across the board. Now, even with those, we still need more, right? It's still not going to be sufficient. So there will be a lot of work that the utility and also the private sector will need to take care of.
Hey, Sonia, I'm going to be on Kauai tomorrow for work, and I debated. I'm like, should I run an EV or not? And in the end, I was like, oh, I don't want to have to hassle with trying to charge it or find a charger, so I just rented an ICE car. But
oh, that's sad.
I was like, oh, maybe I'll just get a Model 3, and then I'm like, but I'm going up to Princeville, so I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to chance it that I got to drive around, look for a charger. Or pay the $35 or whatever it is. So the
paid charge is the way to go on Turo, on Kauai.
Yeah. I decided not to chance it this time. So, and hopefully that changes eventually.
Yeah, and by the way, welcome Keith and Megan. Thanks for joining us. There was news about Hertz and how they had to sell a number of the fleet, the Tesla fleet. At the end of the day, the adequacy of or inadequacy of the public charging infrastructure is going to influence how effective the EV rental fleet deployment will be, right? Because there were efforts to, for instance, deploy more charging at the airports, which is great, required. But if you're an EV owner or a renter, you're going to want to know that if you're going to be traveling around the island, that you'll have access to charging, right? And if you've rented, I think there is a need for you to return the vehicle with a certain state of charge. And if you can't access public charging, then that's going to be like a penalty that you'll have to deal with as well. So I think the whole public charging infrastructure is going to be really critical to be able to have a good fleet of rental vehicles.
Yes, I'm curious, who on this call relies on public charging? Doesn't have home charging at all? Everyone has home charging.
I do.
Okay. What island are you on, Chris?
Trying to get to a better spot with the microphone.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I live in Waikiki. And I'm in a condo, and we have a charge point in the building. There's 4 chargers. I counted at least 30 EVs in the parking lot. And so we compete for those 4 spots. And I got to hit notify me on the app all the time when a spot becomes open. And then I take the elevator from the 18th floor down to the 7th floor, get in the car, drive down to the 2nd floor. And then I try to charge and some ICE vehicle has blocked it. And then so I got to go yell at the concierge and demand that they tow the car and get all angry. And I go through that regularly. So it's been quite a frustrating experience for me. I tried the supercharger one time up in Aiea that was like a 2-hour wait in line. I said, I'm never doing that again. I started charging at the International Marketplace, and I'll buy a $25 gift card at ABC in order to get the validated parking. And then they have plenty of charge points and a couple of the, I think it's Voltas there. So yeah, it's been a real headache here.
I heard that they're adding a bunch more chargers at International Marketplace. They're not Tesla chargers, but
so there's a lot of chargers
twos.
there. I mean, I think there's maybe like 8 charge points, and then there's maybe like 4 Voltas. I think it's Volta. I think I'm saying that right. The Voltas are pretty good because they charge relatively fast. The charge points, the problem I have with those, even especially the ones in my building, they're 6.6K if you got the thing to yourself. If you don't have it to yourself, then it splits in half, and so it drops down to 3. And I'm maxed out at 3 hours at the charger, so I'm lucky if I get 20% added in a single charge. I work up in Kaneohe, so I lose about, I think, 8% driving up there every day and about 7% driving home. So, yeah.
Well, hopefully the Bayview one will open this year, so that'll make it a little bit easier for you.
Which one's that?
In Kaneohe at Bayview Golf Course. That's where the other superchargers are going. And I think, and they're under construction, so should be this year that those open up.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. Most of the public charging, especially here in Waikiki, is buried behind some hotel.
Yeah.
The Kahala was actually not too bad. I went there for the first time just I think like 2 days ago. I got the full self-drive version 12 update, and I'm like, hey, let's go for a cruise. Like, where are we gonna go? And like, oh, let's go check out the supercharger I've never been to. And that wasn't bad with the valet. I heard you talking about it earlier. I think we got 1 drink each. It was like $20, and they validated the ticket, which gives you like 4 free hours. But it's still a 15-minute drive over there, so I don't want to have to spend 30 minutes driving to go charge up. I'm looking for convenience. So really need to figure out a way to get these condos wired so that you can charge overnight. Like, I don't care if it's a trickle charge. You can give me a 15 amp plug. If I can plug it in and 12 hours later it's full, like that would be a solution.
Yeah, there's no way to put one like near your stall. I know we've had some like Tesla Club members that they've been able to get it at their stall. I mean, they had to pay for it, but they were able to get it, and it took a while to do it. It took a long time to get it approved, I think, but
printing now, but I'm looking at buying, and that's like the number one question that I ask every building is where I go. The realtor, like, hey, do they allow EVs? And it's like, well, everyone will allow an EV. You just have to pay to have everything upgraded. It's going to cost you $200,000 because the buildings here were built in the 80s, I think. So none of them have the backbone to support a whole bunch of EV charging going in.
Yeah. I know the newer buildings coming up, of course, those are like the expensive luxury towers have EV chargers in them. But it's kind of the same thing, if you got 30 EVs in the parking lot and you've got 2 chargers, how do you manage that?
First, I think when you mentioned about, trickle charging or, just having 110, really slow charging, but the ability to just plug in and have overnight charging, I think that's an interesting and probably a must-have part of the solution, right? So DC fast chargers, level 2s, and then at places like, for example, obviously the condos overnight charging, but also at the airports, right? There are parking stalls where people would just like leave the car for over a day, sometimes a few days, and if they had the ability to just plug into like a slow charger, they would be able to benefit from that. and it's cheaper, obviously, to deploy those things compared to like a level 2 or DC fast charger. So I think we need, like, depending on the location, workplace charging, long-term parking at the airports, maybe even some of the residential, multi-unit dwellings. Just have a whole bunch of them, and then have level 2s as well for when you need something quicker.
Does anybody know if our airports have chargers? Or I don't know if Honolulu actually has chargers now, like for the rental car fleet.
D-Ray did a thumbs up, so presumably that was in response to.
Hi, this is D-Ray. Honolulu Airport has 2 charging stalls in the international garage near Terminal 1, but I don't know if the rental garage has charging. But to charge at Honolulu Airport, you pay your daily rate and then the $7 additional to charge.
And D-Ray, is that like a level 2?
No. It's not. No.
Okay. But you can leave your car there, so you can just leave your car there then.
You can, yes.
I think that's.
And they have about 8. Sorry, they have 8 dedicated EV stalls just for EVs on level 1. So it's nice. You don't have to plug in, but they're dedicated stalls fairly close to the entrance of Terminal 1 and then the international arrivals. So in a very nice preferred area at Honolulu Airport.
I don't think people know about that because I don't know where they are either.
Hawaii Island, there's the EV parking in the corner, and there are 2 level 2 chargers there, but they don't work. And then I know on the Kona side there are level 2s as well. So that's clearly an opportunity, right? So if you're going to be parking in EV parking or any part of the parking lot where you're going to be there for like a few days, just being able to access an outlet where you can actually plug in or slow charging, and then having level 2s or even a DC fast charger if you're a like an Uber driver or someone like that, and you want to top off, having something like that will be important.
What do you guys use aside from? I know Tesla people, you can look at your app and see if the supercharger is busy, but what other kinds of apps do you guys use to find like public charging? Is it just PlugShare or ChargePoint, or do you guys just kind of know which ones you like to go to and you just kind of drive by to see if they're open?
Christopher, I just want to compliment you for your perseverance in sticking with all the effort you go through to get a charge.
Yeah, definitely patient. That's for sure. I noticed that Bill joined us. Hey, Bill, thanks for joining. Nanette, I rarely use public charging, but when I do, I use the app that is, associated with the station. So with the DC fast chargers here with Hiko. Recharge, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Costco, when I go there and I plug in, it's like Blink. So I just naturally know, what the charging station operators are, and then I just look at that. On the other hand, PlugShare is interesting if people are actually documenting their experience. So if they're attempting to charge and it's broken, put a note on PlugShare so people can, identify whether or not there's an issue with that or whether or not something's working. So that's also helpful.
So I see, Kai, you use Electrify America. So they're opening up Walmart Keimoku and Walmart Kapolei. I think they're going to open up soon, but I've heard there's issues with those going down as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about those? Or your experience with the Electrify America ones?
Are those DC fast chargers?
No.
They are. Well, I charge at home, but I mean, whenever I'm within the area, I just kind of like test it out. I test out the Pro City EA before. That was okay, pretty fast. Funny, I have a Tesla, but I haven't tried a supercharger at Pro Ridge because I always see the line, so I just like forget about it. I ain't gonna wait for that line. EA is usually pretty well. It was empty whenever I go, and I usually try to go early morning or sometime like late afternoon. I guess during the when everyone's at work or something, and then I just kind of get a good charge. But that's my only experience on those. Yeah. But like Chris said, International Marketplace is usually the place I used to go to too, because they have so much charger over there. Yeah. But yeah, I forgot that they bumped up their I think they bumped up their fees, the parking fee. I get to spend a certain amount now to get validation to park there.
It used to be like $10 or something.
Yeah, it's not $10 anymore.
I swear I just went a couple of weeks ago and I spent like maybe $15 at the little food court, the food hall down there. Yeah.
I feel like it's more, but I guess I might be wrong. Maybe Chris can confirm if he likes to charge there.
This may be useful for those of you that live in a high rise. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. One of our longtime Tesla Club members could not charge in his high rise. It's down, I don't remember the name of it, but it's down near Blaisdell. What his association did is they went through on another project and they replaced all of the fluorescent bulbs in their parking area with LEDs. And the result of that was they recovered capacity for EV charging. They didn't intend starting out that way, but wound up with excess power available in the parking area, and they allowed people to coordinate with HECO to get power installed to their permanent stall. That may be an option. At least knowing about it may be useful, because the HOA wound up saving money because they reduced the expense of the lighting in the garage area, but the owners benefited from it because then they could get some charging to some of the parking stalls.
Stephen, that's great. That's great. Great input. Yeah, that's worth sharing. Who knows how many other older condo complexes out there have common areas that have inefficient lighting and opportunities to enable the same.
I think that's. Are you talking about David, Steve? Because he's at Pacifica, and then Adam just posted something about Pacifica.
Yeah, David Smith.
Yeah. So he was able to get. So he has a. Is it just an outlet or a charge? I can't remember what he has, but it's in his parking stall.
Yes.
And Adam, I didn't know you lived there too, at Pacifica. Were you able to have one installed at your stall, Adam?
Adam's on a boat, so no audio. Okay. By the way, is there anybody else from Maui who's maybe had a chance to use the Nevi charger? Just curious.
Hey, aloha, everybody. Sorry, just have a boat yoga team going on here.
Nice.
Ooh.
Mark,
do that again. That was great.
Are you working or playing?
This is my play. For work, I sell solar.
So this is Jerry. I wanted to know if anybody experienced a company called Zenyge. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's spelled ZENYGE. And they're supposed to be like a multi-level marketing company that requests that you find hotels, condos, whatever, to put in a charger, and I guess you share in the revenue. No one heard about that?
How do you spell it again, Jerry? ZEN?
YGE. If you Google it right now, you can
YGE.
understand what it's about.
Zenny.
I'm not a fan of multi-level, so I haven't delved into it, but sounds like an interesting idea.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that. I'll look into it.
Yeah, I haven't heard either.
I put it in the chat.
Zengy.
Speaking of business, one opportunity I think is to have, part of the challenge we have, and I know we talked, Sonia, you mentioned about 30% or so of the charging stations not being operable, is essentially a service, right? I know there's some companies on the continent that have, focused on EV charger maintenance and repair, and who knows, maybe that's also already happening in the state, but here on Hawaii Island there isn't. But it does sound like an opportunity for entrepreneurs or maybe existing companies to take that on as an additional scope. Because I think that some of the places that have these charging stations that are inoperable, they would pay to have have them repaired, not have to deal with all the logistics, and obviously there are all these different rebates and incentives to replace broken chargers, and it's just frustrating that these companies are not these property owners are not taking advantage of them.
It sounds like an awesome business idea. I think in general, electricians are in short supply on Kauai already. So we need to encourage some mainlanders to move here that already have. I do not even know if an electrician, is that a state license or is that a federal license? If somebody's an electrician in California, can they just start a business here?
I'm not sure, but you raise a good point though, and there's a demand for the trades, right, including electricians, and I think one opportunity, and it's actually an issue nationwide, and an issue that's impacting the transition to clean energy. So I think it's an opportunity. Workforce development, I think, needs to be a priority. State and counties need to prioritize that. Universities, community college need to emphasize that.
For an electrical license, you need to just register with the DCCA, Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs.
Being in the solar industry for 5 years, we are always hiring, looking for more people to join the renewable site and get things in a better position for the future. We're hiring actively and promoting to EJ's Electrical Journeyman. Our team is very busy putting solar all over the island so people can charge in their driveways. And that's something I hope everybody talks about. And if you need any more info, please reach out to me for contact info or details. But I drive around every day doing solar for homeowners, residential purposes. But I'm also working on a private project for the boat that I'm on now to offer charging availability at the Aloi Harbor. So in coordination with DOBAR, DLNR, the harbor master, and secure parking, so that we can get some charging down there off of my boat area that's in front of the Prince and Pauhana Place. I'll keep you updated to that news.
Adam, if you don't mind sharing your business email, would love to connect. Are you is the company just based on Oahu, or do you have presence on neighbor islands?
Oh, good question. Actually, so it's Sunrun Solar, which is considered the biggest solar company on island in the state and 20 states in the USA. So it is everywhere. There's lots of solar competition in the market, not like it was in the NEM days, but we are the biggest installing company. And just a lot of homes, since we're only at a adoption rate of 30 to 35%. Lots of work to do before 2045.
Thanks, Adam.
Welcome.
How many people here charge on solar?
I do.
I do.
Cool. I do as well. Tom as well. So quite a few people. I know Bill does.
In fact, since I got my Tesla over a year ago, I've only used my home charger. I haven't risked going out to Kona and charging it there. Had my photovoltaics installed by Sunrun. I was very impressed with the workers, their knowledge and their efficiency. And I asked one of the guys there, how did they learn how to do all this? And they said, well, they went to community college to get their electrical degree, and then just signed up with Sunrun, and they teach them everything else.
Yeah, just we provide in-house training and promotions, and install them too. Like a lot of our workers have solar at their home. There's more and more now of us that have electric vehicles that we're driving. My range demands are pushing over 200 every 2 days just to run appointment quotes around the island. I always attend installs and get people stoked on the savings and security idea, but it's about the renewables, right? The transition to sustainability.
Hey, Jared, just to put you on the spot, I know you do quite a bit of commuting with your work. Are you using your electric vehicle?
Yes, I'm using it full time, and it's been very successful. I have the solar at my house that I use most frequently, but I have ventured out into public charging a lot lately on the Big Island. It's been frustrating at times, but I often just stop to see if things are working or not. I find the PlugShare apps and all that stuff very useful, and so far so good. Again, worst case scenario, I do have a level 2 at home, which I can charge directly off the grid if I have to. But usually it's trickle charge during the day when the sun is shining and keep the car topped off.
Yeah, when you started that new job, it's a realty related. The first thing that came to mind was you're going to be driving a lot, like all over the place, and it looks like that's the case.
Yeah, it is. I just recently put racks on the car so I can put my ladder up there. I think I've only used my truck once for a job so far in the first 6 months, so pretty proud of that. It's working out really well.
Good for you. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So I have a request in the chat about just general progress on the the installation of charging infrastructure, specifically with Tesla. I know we kind of covered that earlier.
For Tesla, obviously we have ProRidge. Kahala Resort is open. Those are the 12. There's 12 superchargers there. You can only access it via valet, so you'll have to pay that parking fee, or just go to the hotel, have lunch or something, and get validated, and then the valets would drive your car up to the supercharger. There's no idle fee, so if you have a long dinner and your car's fully charged, you don't have to worry about that. And then the one in Kaneohe, I believe it's under construction. I can't remember if it's 8 or 12 superchargers, but hopefully that one will be open this year. Hopefully, and then ProRidge. Yeah, ProRidge. I don't know what's happening with the permanent site.
Okay.
And the permanent site, I think it's at least 12. I thought it was more than 12, but that one they were waiting for HECO to put a transformer in, so I'm not sure what the status is on that one.
Just out of curiosity, what's the output of those Tesla superchargers?
I don't know. I thought they were 250. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the Kahala ones are. Oh, Adam, there you go. Adam said he.
All the new ones that they are installing should be either V3s or V4s. So the V3s are up to 250 kW.
Oh, okay. Chris said 250. Okay.
250 at Kahala. Okay. Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
And then as far as Big Island, my information is your information, right? They're still hunting down locations. I haven't heard. The last time we chatted with somebody at an event a few months ago, they indicated that it was imminent, but we haven't heard anything since. Have you?
I haven't heard anything. I think they were looking on Maui too. I don't think they were on Kauai yet. But I do get a lot of contacts. They're pushing for even on the destination chargers, or even the multifamily, just the regular, not the superchargers. They've got specials going on. You can even, for a business, a destination charger, they have a program so that you can charge something, and you can actually probably make a little bit from the charging too. So if anyone has business out there and is interested, I can put them in touch with the local contact. They're not here on the ground, but the Hawaii contact for charging installation. Or if you have a location that you guys are looking at, I know there's a site on the website, but you guys can email me too at teslahawaiiclub@gmail.com if you guys have any questions on that. But besides fast charging, we need all kinds of charging, right? So we need level 2 charging too. And I think I always try to push people towards, supercharging is awesome, but if we can get at least more destination chargers out there, level 2 chargers out there, that's going to help too.
Yeah. I think for the, especially in Oahu, right, where you have a lot, but just in general, where you have a lot of folks who are in condos, multi-unit dwellings, and obviously they have an EV, or they would like to have an EV, but the inadequacy of public charging is preventing them from doing that. I mean, that would be the most ideal. It's like it's almost like going to the service station and topping off, right, versus waiting hours. And then for all these different places where you're shopping, you're dining, you're watching a movie, level 2 is obviously relevant. And as we talked about earlier, even trickle charging for, long-term parking and workplace would also be. So you're right. I think we need a diversity of them.
And Harold posted Kaneohe superchargers is 12 stalls, $250K.
So when you say 250 is like if you had like 10 cars plugged in at the same time, does it diminish? Like it shared?
It shouldn't be diminished because the V3s are supposed to not be shared. The V2s used to be shared, but the V3s are you're supposed to be able to get at least 250 peak, like Christopher said on that.
Okay, got it. Okay.
I do have a question for you guys. It sounds like you have a lot of problems with public charging. Do you guys have a problem with icing over there? And if so, have any of the local, legislative branches tried to implement only park here if you're charging and everybody else gets towed away?
I can speak for Hawaii Island. So there was a bill that was passed, it's been a couple of years back now, that addresses that issue. So one, it enforces state law, which mandates the installation of level 2 chargers in large parking stalls. The other part of it is there's a penalty if you're parked in a stall and you're not charging. So that would naturally cover the ICE vehicles, but also to some extent the EVs. So the requirement is you have to be plugged in. They couldn't quite address you have to be charging. So at least it addresses the ICE, the icing issue. Now the challenge is enforcement. So we are encouraged to call the non-emergency number to report a vehicle, but I haven't heard actual use cases, situations where that's occurred and there was resolution. So anyway, that's what's happening here on this island. Now there are other counties, Honolulu, Maui, and Kauai. I think that Sonia indicated that there was an attempt to do something similar on Kauai, but it didn't go anywhere.
But a lot of the Tesla owners that have been members of the club for several years now have told us that when they park at public charging at some of the shopping centers, for example, not a supercharger, but just a regular level 2, that other EV owners will come over and unplug them. They get the alert on the phone that they're suddenly not charging when it wasn't full, so they go and look, and somebody has pulled up or double parked so that they can and they unplug the Tesla charger. Unplug it from a Tesla so that they can plug it into their car, and then they walk off. When confronted, some of these people claim, well, you've got a Tesla, you've got lots of mileage, a lot of range, you don't need a full charge.
Yeah, I think there are solutions now, right, that allow you to lock the connector into the car.
Yeah, it's a separate device, and some of the Tesla owners started having to buy that just to prevent it. But people get mad if they can't unplug you, and they did before. They're liable to vandalize your car.
Yeah.
So the Tesla it locks the charger in place, but if you have to use the adapter, then you can just unplug and leave the adapter locked in the car, and it does kind of not a whole lot of good.
That's correct.
Since I haven't used the public charging, how much does it cost to charge your car? And how do they rate it? How do they determine that?
Most of the charge points will charge about 40 cents a kilowatt hour. Some of them a little bit more, depends on where exactly it's at. The building that I happen to live in charges 13 cents a kilowatt hour, which is great. The voltages are free. So yeah, it's kind of all over the map from what I've seen.
Yeah, and there are other schemes as well. It could be based on duration, right? So based on kilowatt hour utilized or the actual duration that you're plugged in. So it varies, and it also varies based on the type of charging, DC versus level 2.
And another thing, Jerry, if you really want to just take a look at things from your living room, you could pull up PlugShare, and a lot of times it'll tell you how much it's charging at these different places, and you don't have to really go there. You can just check it out on your couch.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to add that here at the Waimea Community Center, Regional Park, outside the community center, there's a free level 2 charger. So if you're going to walk your dog, you can be charging.
Keith, have you ever tried it?
I personally haven't, but an acquaintance, Ron Riley, he has. It works.
Yeah, I found it to be kind of like, I call it a 1.5. It's pretty slow, but it's great that it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peggy in the chat indicated that some of the charge point stations are free for the first 2 hours. We're seeing that here for Target. So some of the commercial space businesses, they allow for free charging for a couple of hours, and then beyond that, there's a rate or fee.
The Target here, same thing. It's free for 2 hours.
Interesting too is utilizing, and I just haven't been able to get it, but if Target is able to share information about the impact, the commercial impact, economic impact of having that model in their parking lot, in their parking spaces, then that could be a way to sell this to other businesses, right? Other commercial interests. That if you have charging infrastructure in your, place of business, you can actually get, returned, right? It'll pay for itself. I've heard that anecdotally with Target. I just haven't seen the data. And the same thing can apply to service stations, right? I think what I learned was that a lot of the profit made by service stations, it's not from the gasoline sales, but rather from the sale of convenience items, food, beverages, that sort of thing. And if you compare an EV plugged in a DC fast charger versus a gas car gassing up, the EV will spend just a little more time at the service station, and that would be a captive customer, right, for the service station. So there might be an economic benefit to doing that, and if we can prove it, then that could encourage these service station owners to do the same. And Nanette, is that the case in Oahu with the 7-Eleven? Is that a service station?
I don't know. Does anybody on the call live in Hawaii Kai? And knows that 7-Eleven? There's supposed to be a fast charger there.
Yeah, there's a HECO DC fast charger at 7-Eleven. It's been upgraded,
it's a HECO charger.
Yeah.
But is there a gas? Is it a service station? Like, is there like
They have gas pumps also. The EV charger is off in a corner.
Okay.
Well, it's 7 o'clock.
Oh yeah, it's 7.
Yeah, that was a quick.
Yeah, this was great. I think we can wrap up. I just wanted to let everybody know, especially the folks here, that we have some events coming up for Earth Month, and you're welcome to join. So let me just put that in the chat. and it's on hawaiiev.org/events. And on Big Island, we have a rally to the top. We're going to be convoying from 4 different points.
On Oahu, we have an event at Bishop Museum on the 20th, and then at Kahala Mall on the 27th, April. And then we'll also be doing an EV drive with the Tesla Club on the 21st. So if you're a Tesla Club member, I'll be sending out an email about all these events. And then Kauai's having an event as well. I'm not sure what date that is, Sonia.
It's on the 20th.
20th.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we are having an event together with the county and KCC, the community college, at the community college's parking lot in the main tent, hopefully in the main tent.
And Maui has at Maui College on the 22nd, Earth Day. It's a shared event. And Nanette, we'll put your activities on here as well, so it'll be available for everybody. Yep. Great. Well, with that, I think we can conclude. Thanks very much for joining. This is recorded and will be published, so others can learn from it as well. And really appreciate all of you for joining.
I think we should do this again. Maybe, I don't know, like 6 months or so we can see how the charging landscape has changed. Hopefully there'll be more fast chargers up and running by then, and can have the same discussion. So,
yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye.